Some of y'all have been asking me to do this one. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little nervous because we're gonna talk about a freedom fighter, a political prisoner, a president, a global icon. He's praised for what he did, but what he didn't do, that's the part we need to talk about. Nelson Mandela was born Rolihlahla Mandela in 1918 in the Thembu royal household. But British colonialism didn't care about black royalty. And by the time he came of age, South Africa had locked itself into apartheid, a violent system of white minority rule, where law, land, and life were all designed to crush black people. And at first, Mandela believed in peaceful resistance. He co-founded the ANC Youth League. He organized boycotts, petitions, public protests. But all that changed after the Sharpeville massacre in 1960, when the police opened fire on unarmed protesters and ended up killing 69 people. That day turned him. He co-founded Umkhonto we Sizwe, which was the armed wing of the ANC. He called it a last resort, but let's be clear. When a government builds laws to kill you, breaking those laws becomes survival. In 1962, the state arrested him. They tried him for sabotage and sentenced him to life in prison. And that's where they tried to bury him. Mandela spent 27 years in prison, most of them on Robben Island. But here's the thing, even in silence, his legend grew louder. His face was banned from newspapers. His name couldn't even be printed. But the world started watching. He became more than a man. He became a symbol, a ghost that they couldn't kill. And when he walked out of prison in 1990, he wasn't just a political figure. He was the embodiment of the fight for liberation. And the country was one match away from civil war. So Mandela made a choice that would define the next generation. He chose negotiation over revenge. He sat across from the same government that jailed and tortured his people and tried to kill him. He shook hands with F.W. de Klerk. He pushed for democracy and unity. And in 1994, South Africa held its first multiracial elections. Mandela became president. But here's where the myth starts to crack. Because while the world celebrated, the people on the ground started asking, did we win the vote or did we just get played? Mandela's government created the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, where perpetrators of apartheid were allowed to confess in exchange for amnesty. No trials, no prison time, no land returned, no wealth redistributed. And for those who buried loved ones or lost entire communities, it felt like closure for the state, not justice for the people. And behind the scenes, white economic power never left. Mandela made it clear to Western investors that South Africa would always remain business-friendly or investor-friendly. He didn't nationalize mines. He didn't push for land seizures. He left apartheid's economic foundation standing. The rich stayed rich, the poor stayed poor, and the global markets loved it. The system didn't collapse, it rebranded. Meanwhile, the radicals got erased. Please forgive me if I butcher these names, I'm really trying. Steve Biko, Chris Hani, Robert Sobukwe, those were voices that wanted revolution, not reform. Voices that weren't safe for global press releases or donor dinners. Mandela became the perfect package. Not too angry, not too radical. Just enough resistance to be historic. Enough restraint to keep capital comfortable. And don't forget, the U.S. didn't take Mandela off their terrorist watch list until 2008. And then there's Winnie Madikizela Mandela. She wasn't just his wife. She was the movement while he was locked away. She was banned, harassed, tortured. She spent 18 months in solitary. She raised their children under siege, and she never stopped resisting. But when Mandela was freed, he didn't come back to Winnie. He came back to diplomacy, and she didn't fit the new narrative. She was too bold, too radical, too unwilling to forgive a system that never apologized. And in 1992, without warning her, Mandela publicly announced their separation. She found out with the rest of the country. Their divorce was finalized in 1996. Many believe that ANC leadership and Western advisors pushed him to cut ties, all to protect his global image and international funding. She was dragged in the press, and he was praised with Nobel Peace Prizes. But here's the thing, Winnie didn't change. The world just changed what kind of black resistance it was willing to reward. So what's the legacy? The good? He helped avert a civil war. He gave people across the globe a reason to hope. The bad? He compromised. On land, on wealth, on full justice. He chose peace over transformation. The ugly is that his image was used to rewrite history, to bury the radicals, to erase the fact that freedom was offered, but ownership was never handed over. Nelson Mandela didn't fail, but he didn't finish. He opened the door, yes, but he didn't burn the house down. South Africa is still fighting for what it never got delivered: land, wealth, reparations, dignity beyond democracy. And that's the truth. You can love the man but still question the outcome. You can honor the symbol but still call out the silence. We have to stop putting people on pedestals, because liberation without transformation, that's not justice. That's delay disguised as progress.